It started with an invitation, a chance to be part of a psychological study, a generous sum promised upon completion. 5 individuals, strangers to each other, found themselves drawn to the offer. Each had their reasons. Some sought adventure, others a way out of their ordinary lives. None could have predicted the nightmare that awaited them. There was Emily, the aspiring writer seeking inspiration. John, the ex-soldier haunted by his past. Sarah, the introverted artist longing for connection. David, the cynical doctor with a point to prove. And then there was Maria, the quiet observer with secrets of her own. They were different in every way, yet united by their shared curiosity and the lure of the unknown. Little did they know they were the chosen subjects for a sinister experiment. The details were vague, shrouded in secrecy. They were promised a comfortable stay in a secluded facility, a chance to contribute to groundbreaking research. All they had to do was endure a period of isolation. Simple enough, or so they thought. As they boarded the unmarked van that would transport them to their destination, a sense of unease settled over the group. The driver, a hulking figure with steely eyes, offered no reassurances. He remained silent, his gaze fixed on the road ahead. The journey was long and arduous, taking them deeper into the wilderness with every passing mile. The facility was an imposing structure, cold, sterile, and utterly isolated. Surrounded by dense woodland, it stood like a monolith of secrets. The weight of its history hung heavy in the air. A sense of dread crept into their hearts as they stepped inside. The rooms were Spartan, furnished with the bare essentials. There were no windows, only blank walls that seemed to close in on them. The silence was deafening, broken only by the hum of the ventilation system. Each day bled into the next, marked by a monotonous routine of meals, psychological evaluations, and enforced solitude. The isolation was immediate and absolute. At first, the group tried to maintain a semblance of normality. They ate together, sharing stories and nervous laughter. But as days turned into nights, the isolation began to take its toll. Sleep became elusive, haunted by strange dreams. The silence was no longer just deafening, it was oppressive. It whispered secrets, weaving tales of paranoia and fear. The weight of their confinement pressed down on them. The lack of natural light distorted their sense of time. The world outside was nothing more than a distant memory. Inside the facility, the boundaries between reality and illusion began to blur. Strange occurrences began subtly. A flicker of movement in the corner of the eye. A whisper of a name in the dead of night. Objects moved, lights flickered, and disembodied laughter echoed through the ventilation shafts. Were their minds playing tricks on them, or was something more sinister at play? Paranoia took root, spreading like a virus among the group. Trust eroded, replaced by suspicion and doubt. John, hardened by his time in the military, tried to rationalize the events. But even his resolve began to crumble under the weight of the unseen presence. Emily, her imagination running wild, saw signs and portents in every shadow. She began to document the occurrences in her notebook, her once hopeful words now laced with fear and desperation. The psychological evaluations became more intrusive, the questions more probing. The researchers, hidden behind two-way mirrors, observed their every move, their every interaction. They were studying the effects of isolation, but for what purpose? The subjects were left to wonder, their anxieties growing with each passing day. One thing was becoming terrifyingly clear. They were no longer alone in the facility. Something else shared their prison, something unseen, something unknowable, and it was toying with them. The entity, for lack of a better word, revealed itself gradually, a fleeting glimpse in a mirror, a cold breath on the back of the neck. It was a formless presence, shifting and elusive, feeding on their fear and amplifying their deepest insecurities. It whispered to them in their dreams, planting seeds of doubt and discord. It exploited their vulnerabilities, driving wedges between them. John became withdrawn, his nightmares of the battlefield resurfacing with terrifying intensity. Sarah, starved for human connection, became convinced the entity was trying to communicate with her. David, his skepticism crumbling, grew increasingly erratic, his eyes filled with a manic energy. The group tried to find a rational explanation to cling to their sanity. They searched for hidden cameras, for evidence of elaborate pranks, but their efforts proved futile. The facility held its secrets close, offering no answers, only more questions. Their tormentor was always one step ahead, playing a twisted game of cat and mouse. It reveled in their fear, drawing strength from their desperation. It was as if the facility itself had come alive, its very walls imbued with a malevolent consciousness.